Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big, weird, wild world out there, folks, and here we stand. Al pie del cañón, ready for anything. I'm Rob, that's Dan, and you're listening to
The ProBoh Show!
Good morning, everyone. It's Thursday. Oh my God, it's approaching the weekend. Boy, do I need it this week. Dan, how are you doing in there?
I'm doing well today.
Yeah, doing well today? It's
Yes.
Thursday. We got over the hump. It's downhill. Cuesta abajo hasta el fin de... Hey. Finally, dude. This week, man. This week. How are you guys doing out there in Radio Land? Listening to us perhaps on our analog frequency 100.4 FM in Madrid. If you are, I strongly encourage you to join our wonderful Bohemians in the chat. How do you do that? What's the link you're saying? twitch.tv/professional bohemian. That's twitch.tv/professional bohemian. That's Bohemio Profesional, pero en inglés. Of course, you can, as many people do, interact with the show outside of our lifetimes. You can do that on my Instagram, which is @professionalbohemian. Or if you're extra specially sexy and charming and handsome, you can join me on my Patreon, where you get all the links to the show as well as exclusive series that you can only find there. All right, let's see who's joining us right now. We've got Vero in the chat. The first, as always, the beautiful Vero. She says, "Good morning, beautiful Bohemians around the universe and beyond. Y más allá." How are you doing, Vero? Good morning. Born to Iron Man is there. Hi, folks. How are you doing, BTI? Bridge fell asleep on her keyboard. I'm not even going to attempt to read that one. Eugene says, "Hi, guys." Oh, wait, here we go. She had a take too. Good morning, my beautiful Bonnie Bouncy Bohemians. Good morning to you, Bridge. And also Artemisa, fresh from her vacation in York, my home county of Yorkshire. Come on. She says, "Good morning, Bohemians. Happy Thursday." Oh, Thursday, friends. I hope you're all going to have a good day today, and we welcome in the weekend with peace and calm. Shall we see what's coming up in today's show? Oh, we are so qualified to talk about this, Dan. Me and you. We're talking about marriage. Neither of us married. But perhaps, if the rules were to change regarding marriage, we might be more keen, Dan. Shall we get into it? Today's 100 humans, we asked them to name the worst place to propose to someone. To propose. Pedir matrimonio, right? Propose.
Yes.
Nombra el peor lugar para pedirle matrimonio a alguien. That's today's 100 humans. And our unpopular opinion. Something we've mentioned a bunch of times in this show and the lunchtime show. But something we haven't actually tabled here and discussed for quite some time. And I've adapted it a little bit. Marriage licenses should expire after 2 years. Las licencias de matrimonio deberían caducar después de 2 años. That's today's unpopular opinion, and we will get there, friends, in just a little while. But first of all, I'm here. You're here. Dan the Radio Man's here. Our angelic podcast listeners are here. Our analog listeners are here. Let's see what's going on in the world. I'm tempted to talk about the heat wave that's about to hit Spain. Temperatures up to 40 or nearing 40 degrees in the south. But I don't think I want to do anything. So I don't think I want to depress our Spanish speakers. Let's depress everyone. And talk about student well-being. Do you know how to say well-being in Spanish, Dan?
Bienestar.
Bienestar, dude. Oh, you're on fire this morning. Student well-being drops after a move to high school. El bienestar de los estudiantes disminuye tras el paso al instituto. Yeah, someone sent me this one, in all fairness. This wasn't one that I found myself. I think probably after yesterday's talk on education, they wanted to share this with me, so I'm going to share it with you, friends. New research from Adelaide University suggests that the move from primary to secondary school can have a significant lasting impact on well-being. Tracking more than 20,000 South Australian students and analysing 104,000 well-being records collected between 2019 and 2025, researchers found declines across every measured area, including happiness, optimism, perseverance, emotional regulation, cognitive engagement, and life satisfaction, while sadness and worry increased. Can you remember when you changed from primary to secondary school then?
Yes.
Did you feel any extreme sadness, any depression, anything like that?
Progressively. Not
Just
per se.
every day a little more depressed. Yeah, it's interesting. I've thinking back, and believe me, Dan, it was a lot longer ago for me than it was for you. I don't think there was. I mean, obviously a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of trepidation, moving to a new school, new rules, new people, new friends, but certainly not sadness. Less life satisfaction and worse cognitive engagement. That wasn't happening. What's happening in our educational system? The study also found that these effects were not simply explained by normal adolescent development, because two cohorts started secondary school in different year levels showed similar declines. The findings suggest schools should treat the transition to high school as an ongoing well-being challenge rather than a short adjustment period. Dan, let me ask you your opinion here. Because if I give the opinion that I want to give, I'm going to get cancelled. Do you think this is a case of an actual legitimate worry that everyone should be concerned about? Or do you think this is a case of put your big boy pants on?
I think adults don't care about their children, so they are not gonna do anything.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think it's a lack of care, or do you think it's just like adults thinking back to when they were at school and thinking, just get over it, kid. You're going to be fine. Or more to the point, do you think it's something in education has changed or something in children has changed? Because believe it or not, Dan, I was once a child. What do you think? Is it kids that have changed or educational institutions?
I think it's educational institutions.
Okay, what do you think is the biggest change then that's happened over... Well, between you and I, let's say 20 years. In 20 years, what's changed so dramatically? The anxiety level, sadness and worry increases, optimism and perseverance, emotional regulation decreases. What is it about is it perhaps the perceived future after school? What is it?
I personally think that because the ones that are in the labor of educating are older generations.
So you think because
older
teachers...
generations don't care about the younger ones.
You think older generations don't care about younger generations? And do you think that was different before?
No, but that's a problem.
No, but like when I was at school. Because when I was at school, none of the kids were, suffering from a lack of optimism, perseverance, emotional regulation, cognitive engagement, or life satisfaction. And they weren't increasingly sad and worried.
Maybe the older generation were better than yours.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's it. Who knows? Like, I'm asking you from genuine curiosity, Dan, because I honestly don't know. And you being younger than me would be much better positioned to answer this question than I am,
But don't you really think that when you were a child, you were more depressed with the older generation?
No, I was a really bad kid. And to be honest, I left high school with 2 GCSEs, woodwork and art. That's why I had to lie my way into university. My behavioral problems at that time had already reached their peak. So I was kind of an outlier to this, but I don't remember my colleagues suffering particularly increased levels of anxiety or sadness, making that transition from secondary or primary to secondary education. Researchers reported that some negative effects can persist for more than 2 years, with female students and those living in remote areas experiencing greater declines. Authors argue that support should continue well beyond orientation and the first term, with schools, families and policymakers working together to monitor students and respond early to protect long-term mental health. I'm going to put this question to you, our audience. Maybe you can clear us up on this. What has changed Is it, as Dan posits, perhaps the adults, the teachers have changed? They just care less. They're less, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, invested in young people? Is it the kids that have changed, more sensitive, more cognizant of their own mental health? Or is it the educational institutions themselves that has changed, leading to student well-being dropping after the move to high school? I know for a lot of people, high school was a painful, horrible time. It wasn't that nice for me, if I'm honest with you, but I certainly wouldn't have described myself as sad and worried back then. I mean, estás en la flor de la vida, Dan. You know, you're in the best moment of your life for those years. Of course, you can't say that to a kid, can you? Because they accuse you of not understanding the pressures of kid life. One thing that is definitely for sure, Dan, I think there are more standardized tests now than there were when I was a kid. Looking at what my goddaughters go through, it feels like every couple of months there's some kind of exam that they're studying for. I don't know. I'm interested. If you have any insight on this, please write to me and let me know. Carmen's here as well. How are you doing, Carmen? She says, good morning, friends. Good morning, Carmen. All right. Okay, you'll like this piece of news, Dan. Strap yourself in. We're back in Australia for this one. 15 Australian companies switched to a 4-day work week. It went surprisingly well. This coming from The Conversation today. 15 empresas australianas cambiaron a una semana laboral de 4 días. Sorprendentemente salió muy bien. A new Australian study of 15 companies that trialled a 4-day workweek found the model worked far better than many employers might expect. Researchers looked at firms using the 100-80-100 approach, where employees receive full pay, work 80% of their previous hours, and are expected to maintain 100% of their output. Do you understand that, Dan? The 100-80-100?
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, essentially, if you're out there struggling, right, the idea is you work 80% of your hours, but you still have to complete 100% of the work. So, essentially, work harder for 4 days and have an extra day off. 14 of the 15 companies chose to keep the model in place, either by extending the trial or adopting it more fully, and none reported a drop in productivity. Interesting. So 14 of the 15 companies said, we're going to keep on doing this. The results are so positive for us. Such an increase in productivity, we have seen that we want to keep on doing this, either by continuing the trial for longer or just, going beyond the trial period and saying this is now company policy. In fact, 6 said productivity improved, while the rest said it stayed about the same. Are we seeing here now the new modern view of work-life balance coming into effect, where people now appreciate and work harder for companies that are more respectful of work-life balance? I think this is what it is, friends. What stands out is that the shift was not only about efficiency, but for many companies, reducing burnout was a major reason for making the change, with leaders linking success to lower absenteeism and fewer burnout-related sick days and better work-life balance. The firms studied came from a range of industries and sizes, and they rated the 4-day week on average 8.5 out of 10 overall. The research does note some limitations, including the small sample size, and that the fact that many of the interviewees were already strong supporters of the idea. Even so, the findings suggest a 4-day workweek could be a serious option for addressing burnout, while preserving performance, especially as businesses rethink work in the age of AI. Sorprendentemente. Oh my God, Dan, my pronunciation. This is from Vero. Sorprendentemente. What did I say, Dan? Did I say it so badly?
Sorprendente, has dicho.
Oh, did I? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. All right, friends, on that note, let's go to today's unpopular opinion.
Unpopular opinion.
Okay. Today we're talking about one of society's strongest institutions. But as Groucho Marx said, I am not crazy enough to be put into an institution. Yes, of course, we're talking about marriage. Matrimonio. Dan, you a big believer in marriage?
I simply don't care too much about marriage.
No, but do you believe in the institution? Do you think it's a net positive for society? Do you think it's irrelevant? What's your opinion about the institution?
No, I think it's positive. I think it's something that helps people. It's weird. It does help people to not break up at the first problem.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm with you. When I was younger, I wasn't. And when I was about your age, I was kind of anti-marriage. But as I've gotten older, I've become more of... I've learned to appreciate, that idea of unit. What you've got to imagine, what you've got to remember is, like, I was raised... Like, I never met my dad. My mum was, very young when she had me. And a lot of my touchstones for marriage were perhaps not the most positive, a lot of divorce and things like that. But as I've gotten older and I've witnessed more marriages and as the rational mind takes over the emotional, I've learned to appreciate the institution. But I don't think any of us can deny there are problems with it, right? I mean, divorce rates are not dropping. They're only getting higher. I think in some countries you're more likely to get divorced than to stay together. And that may be a problem, right? So this is something we've mentioned and skirted over quite humorously in the past, but we're going to actually table this seriously today. Marriage licenses should expire after 2 years. I think I did this as an unpopular opinion maybe 3 years ago. And I said they should expire after 1. So today I'm being a little more lenient. Las licencias de matrimonio deberían caducar después de 2 años. What do you think? All right, let's get into the pros and cons, shall we? Los pros y contras. First of all, Dan, how do you think people voted on Instagram?
I think they voted true.
They voted false, funnily enough. 56% of people voted false today. Yeah, and I'm quite surprised by that as well. I kind of assumed, the more lenient I became, the more understanding people would become. But no, 56% voted false, but it is a 50-50, so, it's not completely one-sided. Let's get into it then. False is where most people went. So let's explore the con column. So this could weaken relationships and create chaos. Perhaps. The con column saying marriage licenses should not expire. It undermines the stability and security. Marriage often functions as long-term framework for families, finances, and emotional commitment. Expiration could create constant uncertainty. It's interesting. Okay, yeah, it could, right, Dan? I think you might agree with that. That it could create a constant uncertainty and security. But a constant uncertainty does have its upside, right? The complacency that couples fall into when a marriage kind of extends beyond a few years. That idea that, my wife, my husband takes me for granted. I think we could find that might be mitigated somewhat by the end of a 2-year period, both people sitting together and saying, should we continue? Encourages short-term thinking. Couples might invest less in resolving problems if the relationship feels temporary by design. I think this is where you're coming at this, right, Dan? The idea that if it's a temporary thing, perhaps at the first sign of problems, you think, never mind. 16 months to go. Complicates parenting and legal systems. Property rights, childcare, healthcare decisions, taxes, and inheritance would become far more complex. Again, the history of any positive movement in society has always been one of complexity and resolving complexity, right? I don't think that's a fair argument against. And if we're going to talk about childcare or the well-being of children, not forcing them to live through complicated, aggressive, contentious divorces might actually be in the net benefit of children, right? Commitment matters psychologically. is the fourth point in the con column. The permanence of marriage can motivate people to work through difficult periods rather than leave impulsively. Well, look, I mean, 2 years is not a drop in the ocean. 2 years is not a drop in the ocean. 2 years is a long time. And all I'm saying is that if there is love there, the problems will be resolved. It's not like divorce rates are going down in society. They've never been on a downward trajectory. And the final point here is relationships can already end voluntarily. Divorce already exists. Critics would argue that there is no need to redesign marriage to a subscription model. Interesting. I mean, divorce exists, but I think this is the main problem. The contentious, aggressive divorces, the impact it has on the individuals and the children, whether there are children or not, obviously not always. That's not always the case. Messy divorces cause any... I mean, I've seen... Are any of your friends from divorced parents, Dan?
Yes.
And how did they handle the divorce? I imagine it was difficult for them. I have both friends who have divorced with children, and growing up I had obviously a lot of friends whose parents were separating, and it was never a pleasant experience. Not one of them said, "Oh, this is wonderful," you know. How was it for your friend or friends?
I think it was more difficult.
Claro.
Because when they wanted to hang out with other kids, it depends on who are them with.
Who they were with, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of their parents, I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, not only that, playing one parent off of the other, it can kind of turn a lot of kids quite mercenary in that aspect. You know, and let's be honest, it's not a great divorce is never nice, is it? I mean, I suppose there are some exceptions to the rule, but it does kind of lead to quite a mercenary view of marriage. And I kind of hold in my mind the idea that rather than thinking of marriage as temporary, I mean, I think we already think of marriage as temporary with divorce rates being what they are. Anyway, let's get into the pro column where 44% of our people voted today. Forces active commitment. Couples would periodically choose each other again rather than staying together by inertia or obligation. I think when we say temporary marriage license, we automatically think towards the negative. But tons of couples already renew their vows, and it's seen as a beautiful thing. Imagine every couple, every partnership got to experience the beauty of renewing vows. Reduces stigma around separation. Relationships ending would feel less like failure and more like a natural re-evaluation. Times have changed, haven't they? It used to be that marriage was more a political and a land ownership event. It only became linked to romance relatively in terms of human history short time ago. Discourages rushed marriages. Knowing the commitment isn't automatically permanent may reduce pressure and encourage more realistic expectations. Point 4, reflects how people change. Individuals evolve over time. Renewable system acknowledges that compatibility is not static and perhaps plays better to this world in which we actually live, right? An evolution of how we see marriage. And the final point here, point 5, could reduce hostile divorces. Instead of lengthy legal battles, some relationships could simply end when the license expires. There you go, friends. It is, again, probably another sensitive one today. I know it's not a pleasant thing to think about, the end of a relationship. But if that's the way you think about it, perhaps you're thinking about it incorrectly, right? Perhaps a temporary marriage license would take something that we already kind of see as a temporary thing. I mean, there is already an idiom saying the second marriage is the one that lasts. You're not going to tell me that people see marriage as a forever thing anymore. Perhaps, they fool themselves into it in the first marriage, but certainly in the second one, they have more realistic expectations, right? Imagine an end to bitter divorces, bitter separations, lengthy legal battles. Again, just redirecting wealth of a couple up the economic ladder into the hands of already wealthy lawyers, right? It's an interesting one today and a sensitive one, so I do appreciate your opinions when you share them. So this is your moment now to write in the chat and tell me, true or false, marriage licenses should expire after 2 years. Las licencias de matrimonio deberían caducar después de 2 años. True or false? I will post that poll in the chat and you guys will vote. Just before I go to the commercial break, where you'll have time to express your opinion there, Vaughan Radio Trivia Night is coming up with Alberto Alonso, 2nd of June at 8 p.m. Toast Taproom, Malasaña, Calle San Vicente Ferrer, number 33. And also Linda Scaparotto, our new show, Tell Me Your Story, Saturday the 23rd of May from 6 to 5. That's this Saturday, sorry, from 4 to 5, my bad. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on Vaughan Radio. Guys, I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I'll see you in just a few minutes. Hey guys, if you'd like to support the show, you can do so on Patreon. That's patreon.com/professional bohemian. There you'll find VODs of the episodes as they are recorded live, blogs, vlogs, and behind-the-scenes content. If you'd like to watch the show live, you can do so on twitch.tv/professional bohemian, and you can participate in the polls we use in the show on Instagram @professional bohemian or Twitter @ProBoh, PROBOH. Okay, on with the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second part of today's ProBoh Show. It's 9 a.m. and you're listening to me and Dan live. All right, if you just tuned in, what did we look at before the break? We looked at, well, I mentioned briefly, right, that here in Spain, be careful if you're listening to us in the south. We're approaching an ola de calor. In English, Dan?
Heat wave.
Give yourself a nivelazo. My man.
Vaya nivelazo.
We're approaching a heat wave, temperatures climbing between 36 and 38 degrees centigrade, and in some spots approaching 40 degrees centigrade. Stay well hydrated out there, friends. Please, please. But we did actually look at student well-being. An Adelaide University study suggesting that the move from primary to secondary school having a significant and lasting impact on student well-being. Perhaps the case is, Dan, that this has always been the case, and it's just not been reported. I mean, there is some truth to the idea that now we focus more on mental health issues than we ever did in the past, right? So it could be that that was always the case, and it just went underreported or just unnoticed. Like a fourth point that I forgot to mention. And then we looked at 15 Australian companies switching to a 4-day work week and how well it went. 14 of the 15 companies actually chose to keep the model in place. The 100-80-100 model, where you receive 100% of your pay, you work 80% of the hours, but you maintain 100% of your output, of your productivity. And went really well. I mean, it's hard to see how it wouldn't. I mean, I imagine you're a fan of the 4-day work week, right, Dan?
Yes, but I don't think it can work on every job place.
No, it can't, can it? I mean, look at me. Yesterday, I went home. I went home at 4. And then I kept working until 6. Like, what would happen with me is I would run out of hours. Anyway. But yeah, it wouldn't work with every job, would it? I mean, certainly not here on the radio. I mean, we've still got to keep on broadcasting. What would we do? I don't know. But interesting nonetheless to see society trickle towards better work-life balance, or whatever that means to you. What's your opinion? I've never asked you, Dan. What's your opinion on work-life balance? Like, I mean, look, I know it's a difficult question, right? Just to be so open like that. It was something when I don't even think the term existed, and if it did, it was confined to the rooms of sociologists, perhaps. But the idea now that we all demand better work-life balance. I mean, to me, when I think about this, using with my addled brain raised by 2 boomers, or the silent generation, I guess. The idea that, you had to strike a balance between your free time and work time. It just sounds alien to me. What's your take on work-life balance, Dan?
I think that society made us think that pride is about work,
Yeah.
and I think it's pretty sad, to be sincere.
Okay, cool. Cool. I mean, that makes it look. It's one of the things that I admire the most about your generation, Dan, is that shift in thinking. I think a lot of that is because the social contract has been broken with you guys, right? No longer can you say, well, I'll go to university and get a great job. That great job isn't waiting for you. And then if you do manage to get that great job, you're still going to be struggling to buy a house. You're not going to be able to do that. You know, the idea of starting a family, the nuclear family where one parent works and the other parent is able to take care of the kids and really focus on being a hands-on parent, that has dissolved, hasn't it? Yeah, interesting. I did get a comment here with regards to that piece of news. As I see it, if we had better paid jobs, maybe we could aim for 4-day work week, says Vero. And then we moved into today's unpopular opinion as it pertains to marriage. We've been discussing whether marriage licenses should expire after 2 years. You were a false on this, right, Dan? Have we shifted your needle at all?
Yeah, I mean,
A little bit.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the institution really hasn't changed at all. At all. I mean, only in perception, in the Romance era, did it become linked to romantic feelings, and it wasn't a pragmatic decision as it pertains to wealth and land and the uniting of families. I mean, now we think of it as something that's romantic, but like a couple of 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. And just as it evolved in the past, our ideas towards marriage, perhaps we would all benefit, society would benefit from a more pragmatic view of the institution. Because I do believe in marriage, but I think there are problems with the institution. Oh my God, there you go, I said it. It hasn't evolved, and I think just like we are constantly arguing on this show how education needs to evolve, I think maybe a lot of our institutions need to be put under the spyglass, la lupula, or the microscope, or microscopio. And, we should be a little bit more conscious of how relationships and how we relate to one another has changed over time. So are you all the way in the true column now? Or are you, moved from a false to in the middle?
In the middle.
In the middle. Which is probably a healthy place to be. All right, let's read some comments I got right here among our thought leaders, our bohemians in the chat. The poll is still live, by the way. You can still vote if you come to twitch.tv/professional bohemian. You can vote here. The poll is still live. It will be so for another 2 minutes. Let's see. Vero says, true. In fact, they should expire after 1 year. That's the argument I made 3 years ago, and you all poo-pooed it. If the couple doesn't feel the same way they used to when they got married, they should have the right to revoke the contract. Yeah. Or just allow it to expire. This has run its course, and it can be a lot more amiable than simply two people, getting into a bitter and expensive legal battle, right? It just seems to be that the institution hasn't evolved with us. I mentioned divorce rates, right, Dan? Let me see if I can find Spain here. Spain, divorce rates. 45% of marriages will end in divorce, according to data from 2023. Ouch. Let me see if I can find the US very quickly on this. According to data from 2021, 41.67 marriages will end in divorce. There's something wrong with the UK data. Of 1,000 people, 1.3 people will marry, and 1.5 will divorce. 115% of marriages will end in divorce. That must mean that people are getting married and divorced and then married again in the same year. But that is according to 2020 data. I think the UK has always led divorce rates. In Russia, 73% of marriages end in divorce. In Ukraine, 68%. In Chile, 66%. I mean, there's clearly something wrong, isn't there? There's clearly something wrong. And we as adults, we perhaps break up, but then quite selfishly don't think about the impact on children. But surely the institution should keep up with us, right? And make that consideration easier. Carmen here says, terms and conditions should be reviewed anytime a problem appears. It's very likely, even healthy, that it happens several times per year. I mean, yeah, lupa. Sorry, did I say lupula? My God, lupa. Thank you. Isn't lupula... Yeah, I think lupula is hops, isn't it? What they make beer out of?
Yes.
Jeez, it, Louisa. Sorry, guys, I'm tired today. I'm having problems with my dogs. Yeah, I agree with that statement. I mean, it seems to be we have terms and conditions for everything other than the things that are perhaps most important sociologically. Bridge says, my mum and dad's work-life balance was doing everything together all the time. There was no such thing. Yeah, but not everyone's as lucky to be a business owner, I guess. You can't always work and live with your partner, can you? I mean, look, you might be saying, look, the institution hasn't changed and it doesn't need to change, but we have changed, right? We have changed as a society. We're no longer in a position where we can separate the work like we used to. Now we're in a position where we take our work home with us. We carry our work around with us in our pockets. The idea of dedicating free time exclusively to family and to your partner is just out the window, isn't it? And then we look at how technology has affected our personal relationships. I mean, just look at how disposable we have become to one another. Don't believe me? Join Tinder. And, you know, a potential contact disappears with a swipe, right? I don't know. We certainly seem to have evolved in a certain direction, but the institution has stayed steadfast. And perhaps that's the problem. Because I do believe in marriage. I do believe in union. I do believe in two people coming together. And if what you're thinking is, oh, well, this just makes it disposable, the idea of marriage, I will repeat, almost half of marriages are ending in divorce already. And if you're thinking, well, that makes it disposable, then don't think it as a marriage license expiring. Think of it as like a 2-yearly renewal of vows. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that romantic? Another excuse to get together and party and see your friends as they congratulate you on another successful milestone. Interesting. It's interesting. I did get some comments on Instagram. Let me share those with you. Okay. Ricardo Marini says, honestly, it would probably make people think more carefully about staying together instead of just defaulting to permanence. Well, yeah, when I think of the consequences, that's certainly one thing I think of. One of the positive consequences is a reduction in taking the other person for granted, right? I mean, look, you can split up with your girlfriend or boyfriend at any moment you choose, but you choose to stay together. Why would a marriage be any different? Why should a marriage be any different? It's not a certificate of ownership, friends. I mean, it would encourage regular communication, right? It would reduce the feeling of someone feeling trapped. It would make consent an ongoing issue. It would definitely eradicate, I imagine, hostile divorces. It would promote accountability, just simply by modernizing marriage laws. I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to see a real downside. Because if a relationship is going well, all it is in 2 years, a free renewal of your marital vows. I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Carmen says, I prefer free commitment. Marriage seems to me commitment you are obliged to by a system, society. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, marriage is a free commitment, if I'm honest with you. But I do understand what you're saying. The commitment, as it persists, seems to be obligatory, right? Because of the marriage document, because of the legal document. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, it's dressed up as religious, but I mean, it is a legal binding of two people. And all I'm saying is, like many other licenses, they expire and you have to renew them. I mean, if you're into hunting or fishing, this is not alien to you, the idea of a license expiring and having to renew it. I don't know. And I honestly see the idea of, like, my friends. Like, for example, Alberto and I. Oh, hey, guys, we're doing our renewal ceremony. Do you want to come? Oh, I'd love to. How beautiful. You know? I mean, we're seeing it. I mean, I understand why you'd see it as through a negative lens because of the persistent negativity bias that we have as human beings. But don't see it like that. It could be a net positive for society. Look at me doing my best salesman pitch, Dan. Have you ever had any further evolutions in your thought with regards to this, Dan?
I was thinking, be sincere, will you have to pay to renew your contract?
In my mind, no. I mean, I know you do when it comes to hunting and fishing, but in my mind, no. I mean, ideally, no, because then that only feeds into bureaucracy, right? I mean, you have to pay for the original license in the first place. It's simply a renewal. But, you know, I don't know. Bureaucracy being what it is, dude.
I think that if you have to pay, I will say no.
Yeah. But imagine it was free. Can you see a downside? I mean, many people, again, I don't want to go through the divorce statistics again to depress everyone, but, I mean, it already seems pretty damn temporary, doesn't it? So let's, the idea is to push marriage towards the way we're thinking about it already. And just end the idea of bitter, drawn-out legal battles. I don't know. All right, how good a job did I do of selling you on this idea? It was false on Instagram. Let me see if that has changed at all as we've been speaking. No, the vote is still the same. 56% false on Instagram. All right, let's see what our thought leaders here in the chat had to say. So I made the statement that marriage licenses should expire after 2 years. Las licencias de matrimonio deberían caducar después de 2 años. And you guys said 60% true. Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? It's a tough one, isn't it? Because I know a lot of traditionalists out there will be sat there thinking, this guy, just wanting to adapt every institution to his own will. But look, institutions adapt and evolve all the time. It just seems a few of them don't. They seem immune to that. I mean, I understand why marriage hasn't changed at all, our idea and conception of marriage, perception of marriage. It's because it's so closely tied to religious ceremony, isn't it? But let's not kid ourselves. It is a legal binding. It is a legal document that you sign in front of a witness, just like any other legal license, right? And perhaps, just like many laws over time and the adoption of many licenses, perhaps we need to adapt the law to the way society has changed. And yeah, if we think it's a net negative or it makes us treat the institution as perhaps less permanent, then I would point you towards the actual data with regards to divorce rates. But you know what those are, right, friends? Those are just opinions. And as Grandpa Bo used to say, opinions, they're like buttholes. Everyone has one. They all stink, including mine. Let's move on to today's 100 Humans. Oh my God. It was a long walk to work today across snow-capped mountains and through river valleys, and on that walk I encountered 100 humans and I asked them all a question. Today's question was, name the worst place to propose to someone. Nombra el peor lugar a pedirle matrimonio a alguien. I asked them that question. You give me your answers. I'm in possession of the top 7 answers. Your job in the audience is to identify those top 7 answers. Big thank you to Carlos, Ana, Fran, Carmen, Juan Areo, MP Contel, Ivan, Emily, Ivan GP, and Noel for on Instagram for interacting. What do you think, Dan? Worst place to propose to someone?
Air TV.
In where, sorry?
Air, well, I don't know how to say it. En televisión en vivo.
In live TV. On live TV.
When you say air? Like aire?
You say on air.
On air.
But in terms of, in the context of on TV, you would either say on TV or on live TV.
Live TV then.
On live TV. Yeah, dude, imagine the pressure I did an unpopular opinion once that was public proposals should be banned. So on live TV, is it there? No, it's not. Good answer though, Dan. Good answer. All right, let's have a look. Carlos on Instagram said Bangladesh. Come on. What if you Bangladesh it? You kind of have no option, right? Let's see. A cafe full of people. A cafe full of people, says Anna Kassan. A cafe full of people. Yeah, Dan gets annoyed if I if I don't treat your answers as precise. So sorry, Anna Kassan, not there. Fran F. Perea says a restroom, a bathroom, un baño. Is baño there? Yes, it is. Well done. Bathroom. Yeah, I don't know under what circumstances that might happen, but it sounds horrific. Yeah, bathroom is there. Well done, well done. At a football match. At a football match, says Carmen. No, can't give it to you. Sorry. Yeah, Juan Arreo also said in the loo. Can we get a nivelazo for Juan Arreo?
Vaya nivelazo.
In the loo, just one of our many ways of saying bathroom or toilet. MP Contel, at your parents' house. Oh, that would be quite nice, wouldn't it? Am I thinking about this backwards? No, you're saying no. At your parents' house? No. But I mean, I imagine you tell the parents before. It wouldn't be a shock. That's a good one, MP Contel.
Would you like, imagine to be the one that, al que se lo proponen con tus suegros delante?
Oh yeah, that would be difficult. No. Oh, but it would be more difficult if they didn't know, if it was a surprise for them. You know, if you ever asked someone to get married, Dan, would you ask their parents first?
I don't know. Sincerely, I don't know.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Like, it depends on how traditional the parents are. If they're very traditional, I would say, so do you mind if I ask for your daughter's hand in marriage? Anyway, parents' house.
If they say no, would you do it anyway?
I'd give you a pretty good excuse not to, wouldn't it? Sorry, sweetie. Dad said no. All right. Parents' house, is it there? No, it's not. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Okay, Ivan says in Las Vegas. Come on. Isn't that the marriage capital of the world? Is Las Vegas there? No, it's not. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Okay, let me do a bit of scrolling. Okay, Raj said in a meeting at work. Over Zoom would be over Zoom. Yeah, sweetheart, you'll find something in the top drawer. Just put it on your finger. Is a work meeting there? Reunión de trabajo. Yes, it is. Well done. In a work meeting. Can you think of anything more horrific? All right, on a cruise ship, says Emily. On a cruise ship. Again, that just seems like a great place to ask for someone's hand in marriage on a cruise ship. Romantic, by the pool. Come on. Is a cruise ship there? No, it's not. Wah, wah, wah. Ivan GP said at work, obviously a work meeting was there. At a funeral home, says Noel. A funeral home. En un funeral. And the bridge says a graveyard, funeral, kind of hand in hand. Is funeral there? Yes, it is. Well done, friends. Funeral is there, and it's the number one answer. 23 of 100 humans said at a funeral. Worst place to ask for someone's hand in marriage. Let's see. Mia says at a fast food place. Well, she actually says at McDonald's, but I'm pretty sure we're not allowed to advertise. My bad. At a fast food restaurant. Restaurante de comida rápida. Is it there? Yes, it is. It's the fourth most popular answer with 13 of 100 humans. Now, forgive me, I'm going to go to my chat because a few people don't understand how to reply on the chat, so it's a difficult one. I'm going to have to go to someone's chat. Okay, here we go. Vero says, I've got you, Vero. Normally I miss Veros because they all come into my chat instead of instead of on the list. Vero says a traffic jam. Is a traffic jam there? Yes, it is. Well done, Vero. She had some great answers, so I did want to use them today. She also said crowded fast food restaurant, funeral. Guys, Vero's on fire over here. In the audience, we have a fight. That's a fight. Fight is not there. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, we're going to leave it there, I think, my friends. You missed 2 of today's 700 humans, so let's go through the list. So I asked 100 humans to name the worst place to propose to someone. Nombra el peor lugar para pedirle matrimonio a alguien. In position number, with 5 of 100 humans, we had a traffic jam. Well done, Vero. In position number 6, we had a work meeting. 8 of 100 humans said a work meeting. In position number 5, we have a courtroom. Juzgado, a courtroom. You missed that one. In position number 4, I think Mia on Instagram got this one. A fast food restaurant. Ristorante de comida rápida. 13 of 100 humans said that. In position number 3, you missed this one. It was a hospital. Hospital. 19 of 100 humans said at a hospital. Is it just me, or through all these, are you thinking of scenarios where it would actually be quite romantic? I don't know. In position number 2, thank you, sorry Dan, was a bathroom, baño, 19 of 100 humans. And finally, in position number 1, a funeral, 23, well done. Okay, there you have it, friends. That's today's show. Don't go anywhere, though, because Fitz will be coming up after me with no excuses. And a final reminder for the Vaughan Radio Trivia Night, just around the corner with Alberto Alonso, the 2nd of June at 8 p.m, Toast Taproom Malasaña. And on the 23rd, this Saturday, 6 to 5, we've got a new show starting, Tell Me Your Story with Linda Scaperotto. Guys, do tune in for that. It should be quite a special one. Friends, I will see you next time.